I just saw like
it's like,
blurb of it.
because they had their kids left and they became empty nesters and their parents had lived with them and they're gone. So they had like a house, like the garage was a house or something. And so they were all gone and everything. They're empty nesters. I love it. So everybody comes back. So it's so funny. It's so funny because she's in the house. Yeah, she's in there and they came in and she's like, oh, everybody's home. It's like,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I got it. You know what? That's funny. I just saw that. And I wondered what that was. Well, you know what that was. I hadn't seen it.
You promised me I wouldn't be on camera.
I'm gonna go like this. Okay. Turn it right on.
That way.
The camera.
That's what I'm saying.
He's originally from West Des Moines, so.
You want us all to sit over there so it looks like you've got a crowd?
You guys might be in luck. The camera might not be working.
Uh-oh.
You go to Valley?
Lance is on it. He's high tech. I understand. Lance is the high tech guy.
Yeah.
There it is. Oh, there it is.
No,
there it is.
There's Lance.
Probably.
Say hi, Lance.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he crowned.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's do that.
Yeah, I think so. He made a great
That
investment.
way. Over there. Here's better. Go back. How do you know how to pick that?
Well, I don't know, Matt's trying to get off of
My
a,
sister wanted to date it.
Matt's trying to get off of a phone call, so, the idea today is to talk about a few social media things and what people are doing. Of course, we're limited, so many people are gone on spring break and that kind of thing. So the idea is just, for the beginning here, to at least talk about what you are or have been or have done on social media as far as ideas, to just kind of share with the group and see if there's any unique things. Nigel, you want to talk about anything that you've been doing that's, I know you do social media and I know
I'm
you do
hiding off
stuff.
camera here. No one's supposed to know I'm here.
Okay, Nigel's not here. It's going to be some
Sorry.
other English accent guy.
Yeah.
So what are you doing that maybe somebody else isn't?
I'm just making sure I regularly post to Facebook
Okay,
on
And-
personal and business.
okay. You cross over both of those together
Yeah.
with business and
Yeah, I
personal?
try and post to my business and then share it to my personal. That
Okay,
way, if someone clicks for more, it takes them back to my business.
okay.
Yeah.
Have you been able to
I'll email you later.
post to somebody, like send stuff to a seller that sold their property or a buyer who's just bought a property and create stuff to send to them and then get them to share it?
What I do is take the, hey man, you're off camera as well now. If you sit there, it looks busy in there.
Oh, God.
We need you to see your face. See, look, I'm just off. I do this.
How's it going? Good seeing you.
When I list a house, I take my Remax website, and if those that don't know, if you take like mine's nigelsellsiowa.com, but it's the Remax Central website.
Right.
So you take nigelsellsiowa.com / the 6-digit MLS number. That's your unique URL for that property. I don't know, I know there's a new system that's in place that they just introduced. I don't use it. I use that old one. I make that my Facebook post.
Oh, okay.
And then,
So it picks up your listing then?
yeah, it's straight to my listing. So it's a one property
It's like a single property
website,
website.
except it links then into all my other properties and your properties and John's properties, but it comes back to me because it started off on my website.
Uh-huh.
So I put that on my business page, then I share my business post to my seller and ask my seller to reshare it to their friend, like onto their wall properly,
Okay,
and to any family members' walls.
yeah.
And so then it will share.
And so you just expand your original post that way?
Yeah, and every time it's shared, so if one person shares it with two, and they share it with two, and they share it with two, that multiplies up
Right,
times 400 friends they've all got,
right.
and every single one of them then has the option to click on it and come back to my website.
That's cool.
And that's
I
why
like, yeah, I like that a lot.
Can you track and see how many times it's shared? Because it tells you if someone shares your stuff.
I don't push, I
You
don't
don't push
look at it that much. It's,
No.
I know it shares, and sometimes I'll
Yeah,
look
it
and
has-
show
there's a-
25 shares. I'm like, okay, that's
We're
cool.
sticking with the social media thing today, right?
Yeah,
Okay. I did some research on
This is Matt
last
Mauro
few
off
days.
camera.
And I'm not the best at this, but I tell you who is actually really good and has a lot of success with it is Jimmy Farrell. And I kind of noticed, went through her posts and just kind of see what she does different than the rest of us. Most of us will only put something deliberate about real estate, whether it's 10 reasons why it's best to use a realtor or the 5 colors of spring, you know, something. She does things, and I was reading, trying to do some studying on how people have success on social media. And one of the things I saw them staying on here that she does really well is she'll post stuff from actual showings. You know how she has that little vice, everybody's seen her vices where she puts everywhere around. She'll always, vices are at home, for some reason she always takes a picture of the vices, you know.
I always want to know the history behind that, like, what is the deal with that?
It's
I just think
pretty
there was a theme she was seeing on the showing about a vice one time, and then she started noticing like, oh, these people have vices in their house.
And I
So it's
find
kind
I
of
do
a thing.
pencil sharpeners.
Yes.
There's always a pencil sharpener at the bottom of the basement
Yeah,
stairs.
right, the whole 50s one.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
any house in the 50s.
It always has her-
Just don't show it inside an open drawer.
Yeah. And then,
People are always commenting on her, and she's very witty, you know.
she's good.
She's very
And
witty.
if I see an unusual vice, I'll photograph it and Facebook.
Oh,
Jenny on
absolutely,
it. So
absolutely.
Exactly.
She thinks it's awesome.
So other agents are doing the same thing, and it's kind of, you know, it's kind of her thing. And people, she's not really saying, hey, come buy and sell home with me, or hey, I'm short on listings, or I need buyers in this area. She's just interacting with people as she's working, and the whole time people are seeing what she does and what, you know. So it's a very passive way.
I think it just reminds people that you're a realtor and you're out
Yes,
there doing
absolutely,
something.
and you're working, you're out working.
Right.
So, and she does, and she actually does really well on Facebook as far as getting leads go. She says she gets as many as 1 or 2 a week on Facebook, which is extraordinary,
Yeah.
extraordinary.
So,
So,
does she boost stuff?
no, she doesn't do any of that. She just gets calls from people saying, hey, I know this person's looking for a house, or she just always, you know, she doesn't even ask for referrals. She's just she's funny, and she's in people's faces, and she does it in a very passive way, and it works for her very, very well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
can you believe this, that Zillow's the biggest social media network out there? And real estate is the second leading profession that sparks engagement from people
On Facebook.
on Facebook. It's the second leading profession. It's 13th in responses by agents, though. You believe that? It's second in engagement. It's 13th in response time, which means people aren't responding to people's inquiries, or whether it be on their Facebook page or whether it be something. They're just not having these conversations with people once people reach out. But it's the second lead. You know what we're right behind? Government. That's what our response is people reaching. We're almost as bad as people reaching out to their senators getting a response. So I didn't like to see that.
Yeah, no kidding.
There are some things I was just going to give you guys some ideas and that I read about. There's a place called Social Sprout. You can look that up, socialsprout.com. What that does for a minimal fee is it provides content for your social media, your LinkedIn sites, your Facebook sites, and you can set up the frequency. And they're always putting good content. If you're always looking for content and you don't want to, and you're not very consistent with it, this will help you with some consistency. Facebook ads. Everybody knows, he just mentioned how to boost posts and stuff. You can be very deliberate about your ads and actually define your target audience to make sure you reach a certain number of people. You could put college graduates between 21 and 31 that make $40,000, $100,000 a year, and then reach 35,000 people that way. And they're not very expensive.
It's not bad. The thing is that it's only a few dollars here and there, you know, and you do, you know, a few dollars here, a few dollars there, a few dollars there, and then I do, you know, I get all the credit card statements and I look and it's like Facebook, $162, you know, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
So it does add up, but it does give you that option of really identifying. So whenever we get a listing, we always should be doing that. Who's my buyer? Who's my likely buyer? Who's this good for? And you could do that and then actually find that group on Facebook and then market to them, directly. The interesting thing that we do that, and what we find is tons of people will see it and then put somebody else's name in their comment, just their hyperlinked name, and then that gets them to see that individual post.
Like a referral.
Yeah, and so you see this name, and it's like, okay, I haven't figured out, and Michelle and I are trying to figure out what would be the best way to respond, because it wasn't sent to us or told to us or anything like that, but it was like recommended to this
where
other
they tag
person.
someone.
They just tag.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
reply to
that's all they
that,
do.
reply to that comment, because that person will see the reply,
Yeah.
for them to give you a call for more information.
Yeah, maybe. I like the
Or
reply.
put another link in
Yeah.
that reply.
Yeah, so that's one thing, is because you get a lot of those, and they're not asking you, they're not talking back, to you, the sender, but they are, they're not sharing it, but they're individually sharing it with somebody else it's kind of like, hey, look at this house.
Which
And
means
so it's like,
they are looking for real estate.
yes, that would be your automatic is, some of them, we had like the lake house. And so we had a lot of people that would put somebody's name on that. And it wasn't because they were buying it, just like, check out this cool place, But so, yeah, developing that's kind of on our next agenda item, is to get there. Has anybody here tried or used AdWords?
I have.
You have?
I have.
Did
It works tremendously.
you like it?
I think it's
Okay.
all-
Well, it's expensive, but it works. If you want to drive people to your website, it'll work.
Yeah.
It just works tremendously. The thing about it is, it's a lot like the Remax website, though. Whereas if you have mandatory registration, and I don't know if you're going off the Remax site, you do. It's a mandatory registration, meaning I get like 5 or 6 clicks in your listing,
No, you can
I have to
change it.
register.
You can set it
You can change it?
on
Okay.
your own.
Okay, I would change it
Okay.
if I was you guys. If you're using that website, I would change it. And the reason why is because people want to browse, and be anonymous while they browse. This is why Zillow's so great, is because I can look, and when I want information, I can ask for it voluntarily. So when I ask for it voluntarily, I'm going to give you my right email, I'm going to give you my right phone number. If I'm on Nigel's website and I just want to look through your stuff, and I only get 5 clicks in and I have to register, I'm probably going to put a fake name in and a fake number. This is what happens on our Remax site a lot. Or you might get somebody who's 6, 8 months out, they're not really ready to talk to you yet. So drip campaigns and things like that are essential to nurture that lead,
Okay,
incubate it.
but on the other hand, I'm not in the business to work for free and give free information. They can go to Zillow and Trulia if they want. They can get the rookie that's just buying leads because they've got no business.
Well, you can run a business for everything.
No,
I'm
I'm
just
not
giving-
just saying
I'm giving you
another
suggestions.
spin on it.
I just hate getting the, www.sucking.com.
I do.
think
It's
that's,
wasting time.
it's like, what's that?
I have someone on mine, and it was
That's a real email address I got.
I have one that's a real email address 4 months ago. Didn't have a name, didn't have a phone number. I emailed her and emailed her, said, hey, you're looking, I knew she was looking at condos on the west suburbs because that's what the Remax site was showing me. She wouldn't respond. Then suddenly, 2 days ago, she entered her name and email address and said, hey, I want to look at this condo. It took
Yeah,
4 months.
it's basically what they're trying to tell you. If they don't get back to you, they're just stiff on, say, I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. We've already used this analogy. I'm sure you guys have heard me before. It's like when you're shopping for clothes. If that person comes up and says, can I help you? Your first response is, no, I'm just browsing. And it's the same thing online. I had to put in my information, but I'm just browsing. But as soon as I find something I want to see, or same thing when I see that shirt I want to buy, I'm looking around like, where the heck did you go? And that's the same thing that happened to you. They weren't, Nigel, I don't need you. And all of a sudden they see something they want, they're like, where are you at? I'm ready to, they reach out to you.
And some will say, well,
He has a different philosophy, and there's no right or wrong philosophy. Whatever works for him, or he wants to run his, but he's not into giving stuff away for free. My philosophy is a little different. My philosophy is the information is already out there for free. I'm not going to fight giving them what they want. You know,
Eventually, you don't know they're looking at you. so
yeah,
put them on a drip
that's
campaign
fine.
if
Yes,
you
you
don't
can,
see them on there
you can run your, that's the beautiful thing about Remax is you can run your business however you want to.
You can turn that
So-
off on Remix? Oh.
Oh, yeah.
And
I can
then
check
I want
that
you to
out.
write down this other thing, it's called Ustream, which is just one S, USTREAM. And these are things that you can help, they'll help you put up virtual videos of your listings or something like that. It'll also help you, if you're just got a showing and you want to just do a quick, let's say you're at an open house, you want to do a quick virtual tour of your open to advertise it, you can upload it and it'll go all your social media sites all at once, so you're not constantly uploading stuff. Facebook, normally you just post content on Facebook once a day, maybe twice a day. Twitter, however, people are using Twitter because it's so quick with links. They're posting stuff multiple times a day. You know, whether even when they're out showing houses and you arrive early, you know, you might be a hot new listing that's not yours. You take a picture of it, tweet it, and say, you know, this is going to sell quick. Call me to buy or something like that. I think the biggest takeaway here is that people are engaging on social media. People are engaging with real estate agents. It's, again, for you guys that just walked in here, it's the second leading conversation piece in the workforce as far as social media goes. But unfortunately, agents are only 13th in response. So don't be one of those people that don't respond, you know.
Here's some things that I brought in, just some thoughts. And this comes from Mark Gavin, which, you know, I are local, knowledgeable, and so it's things on your social media game. And one of the things that, you know, and I'm not even sure I've got everything taken care of, but we have to make sure that on our personal pages, Facebook, and LinkedIn and those kinds of things, we have to make sure that those people always know we're an agent, here's how you get a hold of us. And that's not for business, that's for law, okay? Because a lot of people think, what's my personal page? No big deal, but you talk real estate on your personal page, either with somebody that asked or you share something, you know, from your business page, you do that. So I would challenge each of you that in this social game, that you make sure that every site that you're on has your address, your phone number, your office location, and your link to get to your homepage. It doesn't take a lot, but you know, there's a lot of different profiles, but make sure that you do that, because that's what the Code of Ethics says. That's what the law says, that we need to be doing that so that people are never talking to us about real estate without them knowing for a fact that we're a real estate agent. So that needs to happen. Make sure your email addresses are up to date, that you know, if you're going to have other accounts like Twitter and that there's business accounts, Instagram, Twitter, those kinds of things, can also be business accounts on those sites. So if you're going to use them a lot, if you're going to be a tweeter, I guess is what you call it, if you're going to do that, it should be that you're tweeting from a business site, not a personal site, and moving forward that way. So make sure of that. There's and I'll pass some of these out, because these were ones I just printed off. So there's one there for everybody. But the other thing here is to be visual. Get pictures, get short videos, get those little snippets of things to send on your different posts, so you can do that. And then try to vary your content a little bit. You know, we're constantly seeing this new listing just came on, new listing just came on, new listing just came on, and people start scrolling by you. If you want recognition stuff, then get your posts also relating to activities in the area, civic stuff. What are you doing you know, do you volunteer with an organization? Do you help people do this? Those different things that are still, quote, kind of business related, but they can interact with you that way and they get a little glimpse into your personality. Some of the don'ts that came out,
How many people here have their own business page on Facebook? Everybody? Good. Good. I wasn't expecting 100%, but I'm glad to see 100%.
Can I ask who's using like a social media management tool? Does anyone use like Hootsuite or Bitly or any of
Or
those?
that Social Sprout. My
Social
brother
Sprout.
does. I know my brother John does.
I don't use one that does it all, like that has it all in one spot, but I use one that posts stuff for me. I thought that's what you meant.
oh, okay.
That's
Well,
what
Well,
Social
it's-
Sprout is, right?
Yeah, Social Sprout. I don't know if that's what John uses, but he uses something like that, and I believe it's $25 a month.
Are you talking about something that, like, when you do one post, it does it to all
It
your?
connects to all of your social media
Yes.
platforms. So
And
you're
I
not having
actually
to go on
really
each
like the
one.
content John's been putting on. I'm even liking his content. I like my brother John. I've been seeing his posts, and you know, some of them are like, wow, that's good information. That's a sweet content. You know, so I've been really impressed with whoever he's using. It might be Social Sprout, it might be something else. I have to ask him.
Mine does articles, anything from real estate to just interesting news. I can pick what angle of content that I want, and
Yeah.
I choose it to not be all real estate.
yes.
I see yours
Because-
all the time.
Can
Yeah.
I tell you, just from taking a little bit from Jenny Farrell, don't be afraid to let your personal side come out.
Right.
People like wit, people like you, they want to, you know, every now and then post something that's directly from you that's, you know, positive information, that just shows, reminds people who you are, and you know, I think that plays a lot.
Yeah, I think it's both sides. I mean, on your personal your personal Facebook page, don't be afraid to every once in a while have some real estate oriented things kind of flow through there. You know, not everything, so it's bang, 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 unless that's the only page you use. So on your personal site, let a little real estate come through, and then on your business site, let a little personal come through. So it kind of balances them just a little bit, because you have different followers, different people on each of those sites. And if something's really important, post it to your business site and then share it on your personal site. It's a little different tact rather than just a posting.
Can I say something on the people's Facebook? I've been looking at what other agents do on Facebook, and agents in this company are doing it wrong, in my opinion, as well on some things. Some people are posting the Zillow listing
Oh, I know.
onto their Facebook.
Yes.
I do that.
Okay, and I've seen lots of
It's
agents
just
in this
because
company.
as soon as you get it changed, it asks you to share, so it's so easy.
I know,
And also,
You're right,
it hits
it's probably-
Zillow before it hits the
yeah.
Remax website.
Right.
So you want it out there. But what's happening is you click on that link, unless they actually say, I want info on this house, the minute they click another house, another agent's got that lead. You've lost it.
No, that's not true.
On Zillow, it is.
No, that's not true. Our company pays for.
No, he's saying that they go to the next listing. They look at your
Oh,
house and they're like,
okay,
well, let's
Okay, now
Yeah,
what, no,
I
if,
got
if,
it.
if,
They hit your listing is coming.
yeah,
Yeah.
if the next listing is an agent or a company that's not paying for the upgrades, you will get that come back to you. If it's a company or an agent paying for an upgrade, so if you next listing is
understand what you're
mine,
saying.
I get that.
I understand. You'd rather post something from your own website,
I'm
so it
not going to
stays.
post anything that's going to help another agent if I
Right.
can help it.
So you're gonna keep the branding around you
Right,
all the
now,
time.
and the other
That's
point,
smart, though.
the
That's
other
smart.
point on that is the new Remax website that we're all party to now.
Yeah.
That also goes away from you to the other agent. The only way that you'll get guaranteed they'll say on your website is if you use your Remax website as the URL in Facebook.
Right.
And that's what I do.
And sometimes when you post it, it comes up, there's no photo on there. Refresh the page, post it again, keep refreshing the page until that photo comes up with that listing. So a lot of people say, well, it comes up with the terms, like the disclaimer, but you've got to just keep refreshing the page till it comes up. But if you use the new Remax Central's website page thing that they're emailing us saying, hey, you got a new listing, here's your links, you will lose that client when they start clicking around that website.
Gotcha. That's a good point. Never thought about that. That's a great angle to think about.
And I'm not-
I would also, and me and Lance discussed this in detail a few days ago, and for anybody that's listening from your desk and everybody here, everybody knows the market's short on inventory, at least from a real estate agent standpoint. Everybody knows we're looking for the next thing to come along. Everybody knows we're looking for buyers. But when you get on social media, and this is just my personal opinion, I think Lance and I are agreeing on this.
Yes.
Okay, so take it for what it's worth, but all I see is I just sold this house in 3 hours. I need more listings. I have a buyer for this, can't find on my house. I mean, everybody seeing that on social media? If I'm a seller at home, what I'm seeing is I don't need you to sell my house. That's what I'm seeing. And if I see that you sold a home in 3 hours, this is not the truth. This is not reality. This is the perception. Sometimes if you take a marketing class, you'll realize the first thing they teach is perception is reality. You just sold it in 3 hours, I'm thinking you underpriced it. And that may not be the truth. We're in a hot market. You just might have hit the sweet spot in the right time, right? But when you say something, you sold something in 3 hours, I need more listings, or, hey guys, we're listing inventory shortage out here, I can't do work, that's all I'm seeing as a consumer is I don't need you. Be careful of the message.
I think that's
because I think there's ways to get that message out, that same message, without going that way.
So how would you do it different?
We talked about that.
I don't post houses sold until it closes. I hate posting something sold and then the inspection falls apart or the appraisal or something.
Exactly.
And everybody's like, oh, why are you posting that house? And I thought it was sold.
That's another thing.
No, you
too.
still want to buy it.
I don't
They're
ever
not
flash
going to
myself
do
when
it.
it comes to that. I don't ever jinx myself. And one thing you realize, learn real quick when you're a new agent is don't spend pending money till you get it, because you never know. And don't ever say nothing sold.
Well,
I don't even put up sold signs.
until you're
I
handing
know.
keys over and giving checks to the seller. That's when it's sold.
I guess this, I challenge myself, and when you look at that and you say, okay, when I post something about real estate, whatever you post should be something that puts you in a great light and motivates people to think, maybe I should call that person, and so bragging about yourself, number one, is never a great idea on social media. It's never I. Whenever you say I on social media, you've got to rethink that. You have to rethink that. We, they, that kind of thing, this house, this thing. But when you say I, stop for a second and think, am I really just reaching back here and doing this kind of thing, or I'm actually communicating with the people that are out there that I want to talk to me? So just kind of run that through your mind. And then just think about what your post really says. If you show listings coming out and you talk about this great house and all those kinds of things, that's awesome because you're showing inventory, you've got that kind of thing. I don't understand the positive effect that would come from I sold this house in 3 days. I don't see that. I don't, it's me, number one, like in this market, seriously, obviously you did a lot of work before, you got the pictures ready, got it, maybe you had it staged, maybe you did all these things, you got it all ready to go and you put it on. So no, you didn't sell it in 3 days. You spent 2 weeks meeting with these people, talking about numbers, doing research, getting it ready to go, taking pictures, all this kind of thing. And then you put it on, and because of 2 weeks, 3 weeks worth of activity, you got somebody right away. They walked into that listing and went, holy crap, this is awesome. It doesn't need this, it looks great, So don't sell yourself short that you sold it in 3 days. That just says that they don't need you. There's nothing about it that says, I worked my butt off and got this listing so it looks great, so the first people that walked in the door bought it. It doesn't say that. Shouldn't that be what we're saying to people? That, through a series of things, we've made this house so that the first people that walked in loved it. It doesn't have to say in 8 hours.
Here's another way to say it too. Take your picture of the house and just say, you don't have to say how fast it's sold. Just say, I'm very privileged to, I'm very privileged to work with these people. I wish I had 10 more houses just like it.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah.
How many people, every time they sell a home, whether it's a listing or a buyer, ask for a testimonial in some way, fashion? Ask for a written testimonial.
Always.
You do?
Yeah.
Nigel, what's your success rate in getting those testimonials? I
I
imagine not 100%.
When I remember to ask, I do forget sometimes. Probably 80% of them will write in. Yeah, and they're online reviews I'm asked for, and I'm not doing so much on Zillow anymore. I'm not asking for Zillow reviews.
Yeah, the only reason I ask on Zillow is because I feel like I can copy and paste it and put it anywhere else.
Yeah, they're able
Rather than
to.
having them putting on Facebook, and then I can't put it on Zillow because they have to do their own,
Right, exactly.
But I would, if you guys don't, I would start asking for written testimonials after every transaction. And if you want to have a higher success rate, and I think 80% is actually really good, start the conversation when you're looking at homes with them. Start the conversation at your marketing plan. You sit down at the table. And I said this last week in our training. I said, get very comfortable having uncomfortable conversations. And what I mean by that is, if you're not comfortable asking for a referral, get comfortable asking for a referral. If you're not comfortable asking for a testimonial, get comfortable. When I'm at the table, and I had a real big problem with this when I was growing up as a young agent, I just thought if I did a great job and I did everything I was supposed to do, they would refer me. Well, I couldn't have been more wrong. You have to ask for that referral. You have to, believe it or not, some people think, Jimmy, they think you're so busy, you wouldn't need my referral. I won't trouble you with my $200,000 buyer because you're just making money. This is a hot market, and you're making money hand over fist. I don't want to bother you. You're messing with bigger houses. How you've had that happen.
No,
sure.
Of course, mine are my $50,000.
Nothing could be farther. You would love to have that $200,000 buyer, as any of us would. So make sure you ask for that referral. I'm never too busy for your referrals, or I really like to work with everybody you know. And I start having conversations like, I want two things. I will know. Tell my buyers this in my listing list. Say, I will know that I succeeded by two things. I said, one, if you're willing to go out of your way to recommend your friends and family to me, and you're willing to write me a written testimonial at the end of this, then I know that I was successful in doing my job. If you're not willing to do one of those two things, even if I sold your home for full price and it was a successful transaction, I failed somewhere along the way to not making that happen. And I had that conversation with my people. So that when I'm handing my keys off to my buyer at closing, they remind me, hey, I'm ready to write that testimonial for you. Mm-hmm. So you might be able to get more testimonials if you let them know up front that this is what I'm working for. I'm working for your lifelong loyalty of business, your referral business, and I'd like a written testimonial. And those testimonials, I'm going to tell you, at least once or twice a year I'll sell a home strictly off the testimonials. Because there are people that are moving in Des Moines from other cities, probably at a rate that's unprecedented, at least since I've been alive. People have been here longer than me, maybe speak to that, but people are moving in here from Chicago and Milwaukee and Minnesota and St. Louis and Kansas City, and all these big cities are moving here because Des Moines got a lot of growth, it's got a great community, it's got great schools, very friendly, very clean, and these people are picking their realtors on those testimonials because they have no other way to know anybody.
Yeah, so millennials especially.
Millennials especially, so they're either getting a referral, if they're older, maybe like my age up to Lance's age, Nigel's age, they may be selling their home in Minneapolis and they're going to get a referral from their agent down here. But other, like he's saying, millennials, they're looking on Zillow, they're reading testimonials. I've had people specifically reach out to me and say, we read your testimonials, you sound like the agent we want to work with. Can we meet you this week and look at some homes? Get your testimonials. No one's going to brag about you. You can't brag about yourself. It looks catty. Let your clients speak. They're the ones that say it best. Okay? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense to everybody? Mm-hmm. And don't be afraid to plaster those testimonials everywhere. Facebook, And then if you really want to ask for them on Zillow, they say to reply to every single one. I think Jason's really good at that.
Yeah, I got a lead. I sold a house just because I replied to them. People were like, yeah, we saw all these different agents with all these great reviews. You were the only one out of all of them that we looked at that actually said thank you.
Reply, so thank you. Yeah.
Now, it's important when you get that.
And I don't reply. I was like, thanks, guys, and it was awesome work with you.
That's another chance for you to say, I would love to work with people just like you.
Oh, absolutely.
I say, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed myself working with you. I really enjoyed. I hope you did too.
Right.
Thank you for the testimonial. Just keep me in mind. I would love to work with all your friends, family, coworkers.
Right.
Anybody you would call friend.
There's a couple of things here that I at least wanted to touch on because we've had all this stuff going on, and I'm not even sure of some of it. But we had the 48 hours site was pulled down because it was getting misused and stuff. So Les put that up there to try to bridge that gap where people would get a listing late in the week or something and it wasn't turned in, and so they could put it there and tell people, hey, this is listed, this is ready to go. That was the idea of that site. And of course, it immediately got abused and misused, and Les tried probably 3 or 4 times. Please understand, here's the guidelines, here's what needs to happen to be able to do this. And it was ignored. And people were posting, hey, coming soon next week. I have this listing coming up next week, and it's like, you can't do that. You can't do that. Yes, sir.
How is that any different than a pocket listing or our first to know page?
It's not even our personal page.
You-
They're probably even less, because that could be a pocket listing.
Yeah. Here's the difference.
How is that not allowed and what we
No,
have to do?
here's the difference. If you put a picture, a price, or an address, you have to have it listed. That's it. Now, if I say on First to Know, I've got a condo in Urbandale coming up, should be in the 80s. Call me, if you have somebody who's interested. That's not an issue at all.
Well,
in
didn't you
any
just
way.
post one yesterday, Matt, where you're building
Yes,
your
he
house?
did.
Is that okay?
Yes, he did. No, it's not. By the rules, no, it's not.
I know they want to play well by the rules.
I mean, I'm not trying to like
No,
drag you out or
I
anything. I'm just
understand.
like,
Thanks. I got City Flies on the phone.
All he's
Yeah.
got to do is pay Dean
It's
$25, they'll be happy, right?
Yeah.
Because he can keep it as a pocket listing then.
There's just this huge thing going on right now.
Especially, it's never an issue to inventory is low. Now it's now it's an issue.
Yeah, it's but here's the thing that I don't understand. If we had tons of inventory and we were running out there and saying, hey, I've got this coming up just in case you might be interested,
No, I would say no.
then I would understand it. I would think, okay, that makes sense. I'm like, I'm working trying to get somebody in. We have no inventory, but we're telling people a week ahead of time that we've got something coming up. Why? There's no inventory.
I mean, it's necessary to a sense, like the homes get emailed out in the morning, right? If there's a new listing, or we can check our hot
They
sheet
get
if there's a new
emailed
listing.
out whenever they're entered, if that's what you check.
Right, but like we can check our hot sheet in the morning.
Sure.
So something goes live at 8 o'clock on for example of today. Let's say it goes live at 7, 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night. I tried to show it today, it's already sold.
Yeah, because they took
Welcome to
the
coming
listing on
soon.
Saturday morning and
Welcome
48
to
hours.
coming soon. That's what this is about.
On Zillow?
Coming soon. It's coming soon on Zillow. It's coming soon on that 48 hours. It's people going to Facebook and doing that. And
I
I'm not
thought
sure
the
who
board had a
started.
problem with 48 hours because it gave whoever joined, which wasn't everybody. I know, I had quite a few members. They gave them a competitive advantage, and they just don't want to give people competitive advantage.
Right.
My argument with that is, what's stopping you from joining the group? It's completely open to every realtor.
it was
Now,
totally open.
Everybody could
Yeah.
join it. So
Everybody
therefore,
could, but you had to follow the rules.
The only competitive advantage is people that didn't join. So I didn't
The
have
only
a
people
problem.
that have a problem with it are the ones that aren't selling any houses.
I didn't have a problem with it. Like
Or the ones that want to.
I admire Les.
Right.
I admire Les
Right,
for
but-
trying to find a third alternative because, he's really not breaking the law. No one's breaking the law. He could have been stubborn and said, I know you're frowning on it, but we're not breaking the law. So
Right.
unless we are, we're going to keep it the same. That's not how he handled it. And I respect that.
Yeah.
But in
If
a,
anything, it made it less regulated, because
You
now
know,
people
it was
just
you.
post them on their
No,
own
it was you.
Facebook page.
You would
post
have
them
hit
on
that.
Zillow, and they'll be
You're stubborn.
no, I don't get it. We're so low of inventory now. I've got 48 hours to get my listing on the MLS.
Yeah.
I want my sign in the yard for 48 hours before anyone else knows I've got that for sale, because I want the chance to do my side of the
Absolutely.
transaction. So why would I tell
And
you
you're
2 days
seeing-
ahead?
You're seeing other brokerages accusing other brokerages of holding their listings too.
Oh, sure.
And as far as First to Know goes, all we're doing in First to Know is tying our offices together.
Right.
It's the same conversations you and I would have if we were in the same office together.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
So we don't have, it's just, all we're doing is making our offices more united, telling each other, because and he remembers these, and I'm sure some of the agents have been around for a while, remember these, used to have Wednesday meetings at the corporate type brokers, right? And that's all you talk about is you're up, I got a listing coming on, that you would tell your office what listings you had coming on. Well, this was before the advent of social media and things like that. Now we have, 9 office locations. Just kind of makes us a big company,
Right.
a little smaller. So I don't have a problem with that. Pocket listings have always been around. We've always talked at office meetings of, I have a buyer for this, and the agent might say, I have someone that I think would sell their home, and it happens. So this is, to me, it's, unless the board comes out and says, this is not a fair competition, I would think that it would be okay if we doing it in our office.
Yeah, I think so. And we're in serious discussions just because of all of this and the market and what's going on and agents and there's that whole gamut of people who are using the system to try to get their own buyer and people who are using the system to do coming soons for things that are a week out. And it's just, the basic MLS rule is don't post something that you can't set an appointment and go in and see.
Yeah, see, that one in Waukee I posted, he'd show it and sell it today,
Right.
you know, if I'm
Yeah.
gonna, I have an agent sort of on
it's
on
just,
Sunday, so it's not.
you just have to be a little bit more vague about what you're doing, or, and I'm not opposed to this, don't get me wrong, or we need to work on changing the MLS rules that allow it to be more free. But the rules are the rules, and the idea that somebody follows the rules and somebody says, I don't give a shit, find me, that shouldn't work that way. We should have an MLS that is set up and is working for the people, for the agents. And that's the whole idea of the MLS, is to work for the agents and make it better for them, you know. But the idea that you can have 2,000 agents in I don't know how many different companies and different areas, you know, out state now that we have, and say, you know what, there aren't any rules, you just do whatever you want to. That's not how it's going to work. You can't do that. That's going to explode.
Well, I wish look at our market, how it's changed.
Yeah.
In 2007, we had about 7,200 homes on the market.
Well, I've only been doing it 7 years.
Last
Crazy.
year we had about 3,400 homes on the market, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you just post something under 3,000 homes?
Yeah, we've been under 3,000 for almost 3 weeks.
So we
now.
have 2,000.
And homes are selling for an average of
2,900 homes on the
100%.
market. That's like 1.2 listings per agent. So everybody thinks that the market's hot, so hot. It is, it's hot. But we're not making as much money. Why? Because we don't have as many listings. And our buyers are taking 2, 3, 4 times longer to work with.
And only for sale by owners. I've
And
seen
you're
them.
Oh, for somebody
Well,
others,
listen,
you know,
check
there's
your
a reason
message.
they're making up the difference.
These guys,
I wonder how
check
many
your
homes
message.
especially for-
because right now, all the
Okay.
message that's going out is, we have no inventory. We have all these buyers, no inventory. If I'm sitting at home and I want to save 5, 6, 7%, why not? Why not try it on my own for 30, 60 days?
Right.
See what happens.
Why, you see people say, you know, I'm just gonna stand aside for a couple of weeks, sees what happens. You know, and why not? I mean, it's hard to say that's not a good idea. You know, it's really hard to say that. And another indication of how many of you have been, you know, calling for sell by owners because people are looking and you're trying to find them a home and that kind of thing. Now we have a lot of for sell by owners that are negotiating your commission on the buying side.
Oh, yeah.
Where it used to be automatic. It was automatic. You sold the deal, like it was 3%, no big deal. Now they're like, well, I'll pay you 1.5. They're not finding.
Or they'll tell you,
value.
like, depending on what it sells for. we'll
Yeah.
talk about it then.
Yeah, exactly.
That way.
You know, those kinds of things. So, you know, and you all know, the ones of you that know me, that I'm a very staunch on rules and all these different things and the way it's always been, you know, because I'm that age kind of guy. But we have to be aware that when the market changes like this, and it's always cyclical and it does different things, we have to have an awareness that we need to do some changing with it, you know. And I told people at the breakfast that we had the other day, get the listing. Get the listing. That's the bottom line. And however that works to get the listing, do it. Figure out a way. Get the listing, get
What
it
he's
on
trying
the
to say
market.
is if you don't have to charge 7% if you don't want to. It's
Well, we
not-
don't-
He's not telling you,
we
he's not gonna
can't.
tell you to cut your wrist
We
open.
can't
What he's
talk-
trying to say is you set up your business the way you set up your business.
Yeah.
You charge what you want to charge. That's the beauty of being in the RE/MAX system. Get the listing out.
But if you
Get the
get
listing, 'cause it's
listings,
gonna get you buyers, it's gonna get you exposure, get the listing.
Yeah.
You decide what you're worth and what you're willing to work for, not land on it.
my point is exactly that, is that if we took just a little bit of that energy that we're using to scamper around and look everywhere we can possibly think of to find that one house that might work for this one buyer. We spend an inordinate amount of time and energy. Like you said, we're not making as much as we have. because we're doing that. You know, we're scouring for sale by owners, Zillows, all those kinds of things. We're scouring that to find, to match up a buyer with something that we can sell. You know, and my point is, take some of that energy, that time, that money, that effort that you're doing with that, and just say, you know what, your house is, it'll come. We've got all the systems on the search where you just take it easy, we'll get it, it'll be fun. And use that energy to work on listings. The systems that you have in place, put energy towards getting listings. And then, yes, and it's coming from me and Nigel, what the hell? If you have to negotiate some now to get a listing on the market, you may have to. You may have to.
But don't negotiate a buyer's agent commission, because that really sucks.
No, don't.
No, absolutely not.
Get your buyers.
No,
the other
no,
1.5%.
no, don't.
No, I didn't mean that. I mean, there's a lot of people now listing, and it used to be 3.5 to the buyer's agent. Now 3. There's 2.5s coming in there.
I know.
Well, we're doing
Don't do that.
5%, so we're giving half to the buyer's
You're not
agent. It's
putting-
harder to be a buyer's agent than it is to be a listing agent
is.
right now.
Even though
Right
there's
now,
more,
it's terrible.
Doesn't take that
there's
much
more
effort.
time with buyers, there's more cost with sellers. But I agree with Nigel. If you're gonna take a 6% listing or 5% listing,
That's your
whatever you
choice.
decide,
That's your choice.
3% should be the buyer's agent. Whichever leftovers should be what you take. And the reason why is because you're shortchanging your buyer by putting that on there. Or you're shortchanging your seller by
I
someone not
always
wanting.
tell my sellers
Oh, yeah.
that, you know, as realtors, our code of ethics says we show everything equally. As humans, if you're going to earn 25% less money to sell that one over that one, and your buyer says, well, which one do you prefer? Some agents are going to say, well, I think it's a nicer house, because they're making one. I don't do that. I honestly don't, because I always show my agent complete detail report and circle the commission and show them what I'm making up front. If there's a choice of 2 houses like that, I'll say, I want you to know I'm going to make less selling you this one, but I think that's your better.
And honestly,
I never even look at it.
and I don't even look at it either.
Yeah,
The only
I
time I
just
ever
sold it
look
and then I
is if
put
it's
it
one of
in.
those flat fee brokers like Ben Bryan or something.
Yeah.
But
I don't.
this is why he gets referrals, this is why he's been in business. It's one word, honesty. People know it, they appreciate it, and they will refer him business because of it. Okay?
When I have a question for you, like-
Honesty will
I'm trying to get
always,
other businesses.
honesty will always
outside
pay
referrals.
off in the end. Trust me.
Always.
Yeah,
Always.
Lance, why are we worrying so much about realtors telling other realtors about homes, but we're not worrying about places that are listing for sale by owners on the MLS or flat fees or any of that stuff that's completely undermining what we do 100%?
But because we have the laws that are in place that protect those places.
As long as they're members of the board, which they pay their dues like we
But
do.
like a for sale by owner on the MLS. There's a field on the MLS for sale by owner or whatever.
That is, well,
That's the most ridiculous thing. Like,
I know.
that
It
doesn't
is.
even exist, but we're reporting other agents for, maybe they had a sign up for 2
no,
hours
it
before it
is,
should.
but there is a business model that pays people to put their listing on that is a for sale by owner. And the reason that's on there is so that you as an agent look at that and go, shit, don't call them and go, hey, drive by this house.
Right.
You know, don't go drive by this house because it's got a FSBO sign sitting in the front yard.
Yeah, I just mean like we're, as realtors, as members of the MLS, we're a union, and we're allowing people to undercut our unions.
Except, well,
Can I-
yes,
on our own
can I-
website.
we are,
Yes.
but by law,
You can't have price fixing.
Oh, I know
It's an
that.
antitrust, that's a federal law.
100%.
So that's why you can't say, we gotta make this mandatory, that you can put this on that FSBO, you don't have to charge a dime, but you have to put 3% as a buyer's
Okay,
agent. We can't have that, because it's brokers getting together and saying, we're charging this amount. And any conversation about that is collusion.
I wonder if that's adjusting with the number of people selling their homes in other avenues.
I'm with Jason on this, because if we say.
I'm with you too. I'm just
We're a
trying to-
private entity.
I'm trying to
The MLS
come up
isn't
with
a private entity.
why the laws make it so.
I sold one last year, a FSBO Iowa thing, whatever you call it, FSBO IA, FSBO Assistance.
and,
Sorry.
and
I
just
sold one
so,
last year, Lance, and I had to speak to the seller, get access to the house when the seller
Yeah.
was off work,
Right.
which
There's
was
no
really
lockbox.
inconvenient to us. And then when I actually got the offer put together,
You take the abstract, probably.
I had to do all of it. The
Yeah.
other agent did.
Our back end,
Right,
we'll get the
exactly.
mortgage payoff
Yeah.
for them and everything. But that's also another way that you can get your foot in the door of the sell by owner and let them know you're worth 3 and 3.5%.
But
Because
I
I'm
can't
gonna
do
take,
that if
I'm
they're
gonna take,
listed.
if they give you the permission to do it, you can still represent the buyer and you're gonna charge them a 325 or they want 500 for a FSBO, but I usually try to get them to do 325. But you can take the abstract and get the mortgage on, and Emily and all of them will do that for them.
I don't believe we should be putting FISBOs on our MLS.
No,
That's I never put it as well. I'm just saying, if you sell it,
I
and
don't-
you want to try to get that 3.5%, and the roll left it, say, I'll tell you what, if we put a deal together, I'll take your abstract, I can't represent you, but we'll work the back end.
Okay, but our
Just so,
MLS board
listen,
needs to
before you
get
say
rid of
anything
FISBO
else,
on the
listen.
MLS.
Because this is recorded and it could be out with a lot of other agents and stuff, let's make sure that everybody here and everybody there understands that we don't have a fixed rate, that when we talk commissions,
Right.
we're talking in generalities.
Yeah.
That it's not a company thing or a policy or anything like that, that you as an independent contractor have the ability to adjust your commissions accordingly. There are no commissions, fixed or otherwise, in any of these conversations. Okay.
Right, well, and I'm fully aware of that.
That's law, so I
But to me,
apologize
it's
for
still
having
not,
to do
it's saying people that work as a percentage versus people that work as a flat fee are separate entities. It's not the same thing,
No, it isn't.
you know?
Yeah.
It's just, it's flat out different.
Yes,
I can't go to.
Make two MLSs.
yeah.
Let people that are flat fees start their own MLS.
The
There's
problem
no stop.
is that our government will not allow us to do that.
I wonder though, how much
It's
that
not
will
the board,
change.
it's not the
When the
board.
last
Oh,
time
I guarantee it's not the
You
board.
have to go to Congress and.
No.
But I wonder how much.
It has to be
The
changed.
fact that things like Next Generation exist, the
They're
fact
not on the
that things
board.
like,
They're not members of the.
that's what I'm
board.
saying, the
They're
fact that
on
there's
board.
all these other
They're not members of the
places,
MLS.
Right.
there's 100 other places that people sell real estate that are not members of the MLS. And where we're members of the MLS, we have to have our little logo that we're on the MLS. That's a private business entity of businesses cooperating together.
Yeah.
If Next
It's
Generation
something
wanted to pay buyer's commission, if that was in their business model,
Right.
they could be part of MLS.
But so we do require them to pay a buyer's commission? Because that's price fixing too, right?
No, we don't require.
No.
That's why they're not on MLS.
No, but I'm
They're
saying to
members
be
of,
on the MLS.
members
we
of the
require.
Des Moines Association, but they don't pay the MLS dues because they
To
don't.
be on the MLS, they have to be realtors.
Right.
So,
But I'm saying,
Well,
like,
yeah.
realtors.
Yeah.
but I'm saying, so to be on the MLS, they have to pay a buyer's commission?
Yeah, the MLS, you have to
No,
pay, you have
no.
to subscribe and pay your dues to be on the MLS.
No, but you don't have to pay a buyer's commission, because the commission's fully negotiable. You put
Right.
on there zero commission and list it on the MLS. And
Yeah, there'd be no.
I just
no
don't feel
reason
that
for it.
unrepresented sellers should be on the MLS. I can't take this coffee cup to Hy-Vee and make them sell it for me on my behalf.
Right.
We're being made to sell things on people, or at least advertise and market and promote on their behalf. Because my website's showing them listings,
Mhm.
and I can't say I don't want them on my website. I kind of can, but it gets really confusing and complicated.
Right.
Then,
Yeah, and I don't mean there has to be a set percentage, but a percentage is a lot different than, yeah, give me $300, I'll put your house on the
and I
market.
think they should be represented to some
Yeah.
form by
The only
the
thing-
listing agent.
The only thing we have is that we do have a minimum standards, and that was a huge, hard-fought battle that prevented these national concerns from sitting in California and putting listings on our MLS from California. We did prevent that. We knocked those things out because they were trying to do that.
Okay.
I sat on the committee that back in the day, we used to interview people to see if we would allow them to join the MLS. And that committee now is disbanded because we can't say no.
Yeah.
It's,
I
we
don't understand.
have no ability
But
to
we
say
could
no.
have a set of rules in place. For example, I pay $30 a month for my lockbox key.
Yeah.
I pay $95 for every lockbox.
Yes.
All my listings have lockboxes on it.
Yes,
I'm really getting sick of it's a vacant house. So I turn up there, there's no lockbox on it.
right.
I call the agent, well, no, I don't. I'm not going to pay $95 for a lockbox.
Mhm.
Really? This
Yeah.
is your profession. This is your
Report them. That's against the rules.
Is it? What if they
Absolutely.
checked on the listing form, no lockbox?
No, you can't. You can't.
Why do we
Okay, can I
want
say it
that?
publicly, the biggest culprit for it?
There's an option to keep it
Fusion.
in the office.
Well, the key in the office,
Side,
yes.
Side Phillips?
But if you have a lockbox, it has to be an MLS
Oh,
lock.
is that John?
Period.
No, he
No,
does
Versus
foreclosures,
Yeah.
but there's not a lockbox on it.
If you have a lockbox,
No
it
contract.
has to be,
There's a contractor.
Does he
No.
go there?
but you can't do that.
I mean, for me, if I'm going to list a house up in Woodward, I'm going to put a blue MLS lockbox on it and
Yes.
a contractor's lockbox.
Correct.
That way the Raccoon Valley agents can get in on my contractor's lockbox.
Of course.
But I went through 3 houses this week in Des Moines that had a contractor's lockbox on, no blue lockbox. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I
is,
showed one of those,
and
I think it might have been.
They
I
absolutely
can't remember
should
which
be
one it was.
reported. That is not allowed.
We got just a few minutes left. I want to change, I want to ask you guys a question. Something happened to me 2 weeks ago. I just want to see what
Sorry to go on the
reaction to this is. Because I've never seen, I've been a licensed agent, this is my 21st year, and I've never seen anything like this. But I have a feeling you might see more of this. So a house comes on in 48 hours, right? It's a house 2 IRO agents have coming on. And they told me about it. We paid out, we got this house come over by Dowling, We lost out on one of their other houses. So as soon as it comes on 48 hours, I schedule a time, and of course there's 5, 6, 7 agents going through it. And we look at it and make an offer. We made an offer, it was listed at 184.9, we made an offer at 190. Okay? We didn't get the house. And he called me, Brandon called me up. He's like, man, I'm sorry I didn't get the house. He goes, you know how you lost? I'm like, yeah, please tell me. He goes, we had a buyer come in and say he'll just give $1,000 more than any other bid.
We were just talking about that in a different.
He goes, we'll go $1,000 above any other written bid you have. I said, man, I've never heard anything like that, Brandon. Is that legal? I mean, you have a closed, these are closed bids we're putting in. These are not open bids. If they are open bids, you should have let everybody know that it's an open bid.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, and I didn't even really ask him if it was him that wrote the offer, although I have a suspicion it was, but I don't know for sure. He goes, listen, I checked with my manager's IRO and he said it's perfectly legal.
It is.
We did it in Milwaukee.
We have our bids, and we do this because of the board and the MLS and the interaction between agents. And even though there's 2,000 of us, we know that there's, 300 maybe that you actually work with, that are active and doing their thing. And we respect each other. And I respect people, and I tell my agents, if you get multiple offers, in Nigel knows, if you're going to write one yourself, have them all sent to me as the broker. And then I have them all, and when they all get in there, then they're ready to present, and it takes you out of that.
I lost one of my own listings. So how is what he's talking about legal? Because you could have 3 people do the same thing, and that thing could be to perpetuality.
Yes.
As a listing agent, you're representing your seller's best interest.
Right. So how do you do that? Because
this last we had a 195 offer like $2,000 in closing costs. So it was literally $3,100 over the
house
price.
on 19th.
So this is what. So he had to provide house on 19th Street. So he had to provide the first sheet of the best offer to the buyer to show. My question is, do they show the $2,000 closing cost? Or if that's on an addendum, and they just show them the first page. So because they really weren't getting 195. So what if that buyer pays 196, then he comes back and finds out, well, the net for the summer was 193. I should only pay 194.
Well, so call the buyer.
So they show the other offer. They say, hey, people got it.
That's
$480,000.
Brandon told me, yeah,
Congratulations.
That's it. Well, how does that buyer know $1,000? You can just tell him, hey, you got to go 199 on it. And he said, no, we had to show him the first page of the highest offer.
So
That's what my thought was. What if someone comes back, you have 2 people that say, I'll do $1,000 over. Then you go back to both parties and say, listen, we have 2 open bids. We need them to be closed. You just need to put your best foot forward. I mean, what do you do?
So if they're open bids, they need to tell you what the other guy's offering.
That's what I said. If there was an open bid, they should have let everybody know.
No, they should let everybody know that they are giving the bids to the seller, all of them, and the seller can do their thing. And if you're giving it to the buyer, then I like that you tell everybody. You don't have to. There's no rule that says you have to, but there's no rule that prevents that. Our only focus is what's best for the seller. Now, if you're in that scenario, and whoever wrote that was, or whoever the buyer was, very smart, because we have a stopgap issue there. No matter what they pay, if it doesn't appraise, they don't have to pay it.
Anymore.
What do you pay?
Only if it's subject to appraisal.
No, it's subject to financing.
No, the buyer just has to come up with the difference in the amount of money.
Not if it's financing.
Yeah, they still can. They can pay the difference.
They can pay the difference, but they're not required.
Oh, yeah, they're not
It
required.
depends how you word it. You can word it where it's not subject to appraisal.
We just don't check the box.
Well, even if you don't check the box, it's still subject to financing, and financing is subject to appraisal
Okay,
in most cases.
But he should be privy to seeing the buyer's offer that in writing that says $1,000 higher than any other offer. That should have been disclosed to him when he wrote the offer.
Why?
I just think they should have said,
How much
we got
difference-
4 closed bids and 1 open bid.
Yeah.
And then I would have known what that meant, and then I could.
How much different is that than the 48 hours thing? You know what I'm saying? Because you're kind of playing favorites.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it happens all the time on foreclosures. You just don't
Unfortunately,
realize it.
the house that they lost out on before was Chris
That was too much
Albright
for the
and
house
Randy's
anyways.
win. Yeah, but it was, I mean, it's almost overpaying for it, but we were gonna be one of them. But that's what happens when you have low inventory, you know? And that's the thing that we're gonna see, I think, more and more as the spring goes on, is appraisals that fall short, because they're still gonna be going back 6, 8 months to a year, and they haven't calculated for the appreciation that's coming in now from 15 to 16. So you're gonna have that, we just
Oh,
had
yeah.
one, out, we had one at Echo Valley, I don't know, it's close as Friday, so I don't mind saying it, but they had an offer for 537, and it only appraised for 533. And that was, so we ended up splitting the difference, just going 535 on it. But that's setting the market out there at Echo as far as
Yeah.
sales go.
So, yeah, it's
It's
just,
crazy that $1,000 over.
but remember that the buyer on your side that you're working with as the buyer is your single focus, and you should do everything you possibly can for them. And the same thing's on the people with the seller side. It's their single focus, and they should do everything.
See, this is a strategy I'm gonna use at all times with
Yeah.
people. I use that, because here's the deal, we're not gonna legally accept an offer until it's signed, sealed, and delivered, right?
Yeah.
So I can make that $1,000, I'll go $1,000 over, and they can come back and say, well, Matt, we accepted your buyer's offer, this is you had to go to 196, right? Well, if my buyer says, no, I'm not paying that for it, I just want to see, you know,
Yeah.
go down to your next buyer.
That's
So
basically.
what do I have to lose by going in
Nothing.
a strategy when there's multiple offers taking that approach?
To do
What do I have to lose?
1,000 over the highest bid to the maximum of X dollars.
That's not what they're saying.
No, but that's
They
what you
said,
should add in there to protect your buyer.
I don't need to protect my buyer, because until he actually initials off on the change, it's not signed, sealed, delivered. It's not.
So if he
anything.
writes a contract saying $1,000 over the highest bid, that's legally binding, potentially legally binding
It
contract.
is.
So if that bid is twice list price, he has to pay 1,000 more than twice list price, unless you put a
I'm just
maximum
letting
of
fall apart.
Not
I
necessarily.
disagree because he hasn't signed a
He
paper that has a price on it.
Doesn't
If
matter.
his offer is
It's written offer.
$150 and then $1,000 over the highest bid, until he knows the highest bid, the only thing he signed still says $150. Without a signature, it's not a
It's
legal
not conditional.
contract.
No,
Yeah,
what you just described, that's
That's why these
conditional.
rules suck.
It's only, it's conditional if he said, but if he didn't, he said, I will pay 1,000 more than the highest offer, period. That's not conditional, there's no out on that, that's legal. I would think an attorney would try and hold you up on that one, I think.
Only if they said, I accepted your offer, here's the signed seller agreement. Now you got all signatures on there, because then at that point it becomes legally binding.
But as
But
soon
if
as
they just
anything
verbally
changes-
tell you,
Yeah.
and your buyer says, no, I'd like to withdraw my offer, before they have delivered you a signed seller's purchase agreement and all the
Absolutely.
addendums, then you don't have to.
Yeah, I'm gonna deliver you it before I tell you where we
Yeah.
Well, you will, well, help on mine.
And that's the thing, just, that's things that are going to happen because the market's crazy and people are doing whatever they can. And so have an awareness of that, think through those kinds of things, because, yeah, you're gonna see stuff that you don't ever see. You don't
Well,
ever
again,
see.
we don't worry about that, but we worry about a realtor telling another realtor that he has a house coming.
I know.
49 hours early.
But Jason, how many times have you looked at a foreclosed house, called the listing agent, yeah, it's still available, no offers, you write an offer an hour later, it's like, oh, there's another offer on it.
Yeah.
And you lose out to their buyer, because they're sitting there with a contract, a rehab flipper that wants to buy it, John, someone.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I've had it all the time where I call, there's no offers. There's no offers, I call, and then I write an offer that day, and they're like, oh, that sold 3 days ago.
Yeah, because they-
Oh, yeah, I didn't.
Because they've got that offer sitting on the desk from their investor.
Right.
But
Yeah,
they
well,
don't activate it until.
That's my point, is that we got our whole board freaking out and having meetings over freaking real silly Facebook Lives. There's a whole bunch of crap going on, it's just totally dishonest.
Yeah.
And it's written so that you have to.
I had a very prominent realty agent say, hey, last year, the year before, hey, if you offer this much, you'll get the house. So I offered that much. I'm not
Yeah,
getting how we got.
I mean, maybe,
No, I'm telling you.
we're in an ultra competitive market.
That's a very smart agent / buyer that just did that. That's a smart person. Because,
Are we still live?
you know,
Yeah. Do you wanna go
that's a
online?
smart person.
Bye, everyone.
Because I have a different word for him, I just didn't want to put it on camera.
Yeah.
No, you're
So,
fine. Hang on.
yeah,
No,
thanks
you're right.
everybody
No, I
for
got-
showing up.